The Trump administration's large-scale staffing cuts and agency restructuring can now resume. The Supreme Court lifted a federal judge's order pausing Trump's plan to downsize the federal government. A U.S. district judge halted the cuts, arguing that agencies would not be able to function as intended by Congress. Groups who oppose the cuts claim the administration cannot make sweeping changes without Congress's approval. In a social media post, Attorney General Pam Bondi lauded the decision. Quote, "Now federal agencies can become more efficient than ever before." The Justice Department lawyers argued it is not in the government's or the taxpayers' best interest to wait for lawsuits to play out before cutting the workforce.
Shalom. First of all, I start off by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem HaKadosh. Double honor to teachers, elders, and the boss of great millstone, likewise, brothers putting on this truth. Faithfully, fearlessly feeding the sheep, and to brothers and sisters tuning in. Shalom. Today's lesson's titled, Egypt Shall Mourn. Now, you saw in the opening clip there, the yo-yo decision making that's going on here in Great Babylon, America. 1 minute the court is against President Trump, the next minute they're for Trump. And so as you can see here, the Supreme Court, they decided to grant him the permission that he's been seeking to continue purging, the employees of the federal government. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus 14 and verse 5, and it reads, "He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He should not take pleasure in his good." Now we know a lot of the federal workers are in fact Edomites. Edomites love jobs where they can basically relax in an office atmosphere. It's safe. It's a guaranteed job, and they grow into those levels they're known as government service level 1 to 15, and eventually they would retire. However, gone are those days where you now can sit into a job for 40 years, and then go into a nice retirement. This devil, the so-called white man, right now is really executing, his wrath on this earth. His intended target really is the poor. Now, interesting enough, there was a dissenter, for this. This article here, you can see it says Supreme Court allows Trump to resume mass federal layoffs for now. And this is very recent. And it says the Supreme Court on Tuesday lifted a lower court order that had blocked President Trump's executive order requiring government agency to lay off hundreds of thousands of federal employees. That's a lot of people. The order was unsigned. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, who was appointed to the court by President Biden, dissented. Now, let's take a look at the word dissented, and it means when you go into the AI overview in law, in legal settings, dissented often refers to a judge who disagrees with the majority opinion in a court case. This disagreement is usually expressed in a dissenting opinion, which is a written explanation of why the judge disagrees. When you look at the word dissent in an ordinary dictionary, it means hold or express opinions that are at variance with those previously commonly or officially expressed. Now, she was put up there by Joe Biden. You can see in her profile here, it's an actual sister, So, the sister probably is thinking to herself, she knows that in government jobs, there's a lot of so-called blacks, Native Americans, and Latinos that work in these type of jobs. They're a little bit easier. They're not the best paying job as far as if you're looking for 6 figures. Government job isn't really where you go. But if you're looking for longevity, job security, this is where you go. And Trump knows this, and in order to expedite that poverty that is going to be taking place here in Great Babylon, America, and have more control, you need to get rid of these people that are in that relaxed state. Let's go into the book of Psalms 146 and 3, and it reads, "Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help." And this is why you see the man of the Lord, Yahweh Shai. We've all been out there in the world. We've all been screwed over many times over. We're still being screwed over right now to this day. So there's no incentive or even any second thought of putting any kind of trust, into the rulers of Great Babylon, America. We're just watching prophecy fulfilled. But these people are really getting that rude awakening right now. As you see this man is more concerned about building an armada or army of, Gurga troops that's going to be going through these cities and grabbing up poor people, accusing them of crimes that really the so-called white man has committed all of those crimes. This is Isaiah 19:14. It reads, "The Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, mingle a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt, which this place is known as spiritual Sodom and Egypt, to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggered in his vomit." We've seen some things taking place in that White House. You have kid dancing on top of the, I'm talking about Elon Musk kid dancing on top of the desk, telling the president of the United States he's not the president. I mean, it's a clown show, okay? It's a clown show. And this is, it's almost like similar to watching a drunken person come out of a nightclub and, they're staggering, they're puking and slurring, they're incoherent. And that's what we see going on right now in Great Bible America is an incoherent rulership. This man is unfit to be in a management position of the earth, okay? And here we are, we're stuck, okay? Until Mashiach comes and rescue us, we are stuck under the rulership of this drunken, wicked ass devil, man. He says, "Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do," because you see they're self-destructing. They're self-destructed. Tariffs on these other nations. You have the vegetations and the fruits and the poultry being destroyed. They're playing with the weather. Okay, you see in weather system changes all across this place. Bushfires. Okay, levees breaking and people are drowning. Just a whole lot of things that are going on right now. I mean, everything is just really falling apart. And you have the people who, of course, they're blinded and believe this place will go on forever or recover. They're struggling trying to keep this place afloat. They're trying to fix it. And that's why you see there's a great division that's going on. Even in the Supreme Court, there's a division in there. Okay? That judge, she held out. Okay? This is Jeremiah 49:7. It reads, "Concerning Edom, thus said the Lord of hosts, Yahweh Shemashai, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perish from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished?" And definitely it has. Those of you who are old enough, you can remember when President Reagan and Jimmy Carter, and you can go into even President Bush Sr., even President Bush Jr., even up to, we could even say even up to Obama. These guys were polished, there was no foolishness and no bullshit. But now you can see right now, just like how the scriptures say, we'll be ruled over by children. You can see these are children, man. This man is a child. He's a child, along with all of his cabinet members or his senates or people that are siding with him. And they're children, man. They're wicked. Okay, and you can see where this is going to bring this place down. Of course, the Lord Yahweh Shemashai is in control of all things. We're seeing prophecies come true, even though you have the majority of our people, 2/3, that keep coming up against us. And we know eventually, as the Lord allows this purge on us or this tribulation to come on us to try us out, that's going to be to the joy of these people, okay, who really have their pleasure in Great Babylon, America. But take a look at this, man. So this man is about to go lay off hundreds of thousands, or if not, upwards of 2 or 3 million, okay, that are in these federal agencies, and they're going to be replaced. Let's close over the book of Proverbs 14:31, because at the end of the day, if you've worked in the government system, you know that a lot of the the people that work in there, a lot of jakes. This is going to impact smaller, places like the cities or the way he now has the control of this money with this big, beautiful bill. He's now, slicing and dicing and cutting everything. Okay. And, we're going to be following up on that. Okay. But everything that's being made, every decision that's being made, every cut, every paper or legislation this man is signing right now, you have to look on it with suspicion, because it is intended to pursue the poor. And it reads, "He that oppressed the poor reproacheth his maker, but he that honored him had mercy on the poor." Since Esau, the Edomite, the so-called white man, does not have fear of Yahweh Shemashai, does not honor him, does not give a crap. Remember, we go back to Esau. He despised his birthright. He didn't think nothing of it. So he has no integrity, no loyalty, no honesty and no fear of repercussion, because basically he's been given that sword and he answers to no one for now. Okay, so he's not going to show mercy on us, and you better get that through your head, Jake. Okay, take a look. Okay, don't fall asleep here in Great Babylon, America. Lord willing, the elect was edified at the close of by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Shalom.